Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with your Saturday Witchy Book Club series. Today we are going through chapter 13. We're doing part 2 of 3. This is by Christopher Penzak. If you do not have your own copy, there is an Amazon link in the description below. Uh, if you need to get it from there, that is available to you. I do encourage you to get it from an independent bookseller or an independent witchy shop if that is something that is available to you. Oh, before I go any further, I do want to say that the last couple days I have spent cleaning my entire garage to look for that item that I sold on eBay and cannot seem to find. I looked all through there, could not find it. Looked all throughout the spare room upstairs that I have that is just jam-packed full of stuff that needs to get listed on eBay. Still couldn't find it. So unfortunately, the rare occurrence happened where I had to cancel an order. So I figured I'd share, that with y'all since I shared that the other day. I also did find the book that I was looking for, so yay. And in all my cleaning, found this nice little monitor stand that I could raise my monitor up. So, I have more of an eye level to my computer screen. And yeah, you guys are actually, y'all are actually looking down on me a little bit, which I kind of like that angle. It gets rid of that double chin there. Um, it's awesome. Anyway, we are going through the Outer Temple Witchcraft, Chapter 13. This is part 2, like I've already said. This is under Astrological Spellcrafting. This is going to be a relatively short part. Let me take off my rings here. Let's get comfy. Before we go any further, one more thing I need to do is tell you, if you are not yet subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down here. Hit that bell notification so you get notified whenever new videos come out. Leave a comment, like, and or dislike, doesn't matter. All of those appeal the algorithmic gods of YouTube. All hail the algorithmic gods of YouTube. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your beverage, whatever it may be. I have some iced tea, Lipton, I do believe. It's the raspberry one. Lipton, if you want me to hawk your shit, let me know. I think it's Lipton's under Nestle, I think. I will hawk your shit. Anyway, under astrological spellcrafting, like I said, I don't have a lot of notes on this. Learning the magical correspondences of astrology was the most important step I took in truly learning magic. People will often be amazed at how I remember what herb is good for a particular spell, or how to use crystals, colors, or symbols. I wish I could say I have an excellent memory, but for details, I don't. I do love to understand systems, though. The astrology gave me a system to craft my own spells. Yeah, for me, even though I have books on astrology, it is all Greek to me. I cannot, I can't wrap my head around it, and I've spoken about this before, so I'm not going to belabor that point. So yeah, I do respect people that can find a system that works for them, especially whenever it's like astrology, or what you call it, if it's through astrology or through Kabbalah or through the Golden Dawn or through Wicca and the elements. If you can find a system that works for you, fantastic. And we're going to speak on more on that here in a little bit. I think it's on the next page. He goes on to say further down, we're going to be skipping around here quite a bit. Just as people have many astrological influences, most of these tools are influenced by more than one planet and sign, leading to some confusion and discrepancies among magical books. Just as no one person is dominated by a single influence, no tool is exclusively dominated. A good witch can bring out the hidden powers of all tools. This underlines one of the frustrations for me in witchcraft and in my practices. Whenever you go and you look, especially for those of us who have learned everything from books, or if you were fortunate enough to be somebody within the last 10 years starting your practice, learning it from YouTube. If you are not classically trained, so to speak, or traditionally trained in a coven setting, looking through books, you can get very confused on, oh my gosh, this book says this and this book says that, and they are conflicting as hell. That is something that is really frustrating whenever you are starting out your practice. Take it with a grain of salt. They all guessed, just like we are still guessing today. And they wrote down what worked for them and what correspondences were correct for them. So just keep that in mind. Moving on down a little bit, magic often harvests one part of the plant and medicine another. So different parts of the plant can have different powers and correspondences. Absolutely. And this is one thing that is not often talked about in herbal books. Like, the root can be used for one thing, but the leaves can be used for something totally different. Take, for instance, potatoes. I believe it's potatoes. The plant itself can be toxic. However, the potato, the tuber, which is a root, is something that is quite delicious when fried up into little tiny sticks. Absolutely. So that's one thing to keep it in mind whenever you're looking at different plants. If you're going to be in a system such as herbology or herbology, depending on where you're from, then you need to, or I would encourage you, you don't need to do it, but I would encourage you to look at the different parts of the plants and how different parts of the plants are used, because one part might be very beneficial while the other one can potentially kill you. So I would encourage anybody that is getting involved in herbs to definitely go that route and see what really works for you on that, or what is medically okay, and then go from there on your correspondences with what works for what. That is why I still say to people, don't go eating all your herbs. Don't try it, because even though some books will say, oh yeah, it's completely fine, if it's a different part of the plant, it can be toxic. So know your stuff and know where you're getting it and what part of the plant it's from before you end up ingesting any of that. Of course, you have things like, if you're a kitchen witch, if you're using oregano or oregano, depending again where you're located, the pronunciation can be different. Basil and stuff like that. If you're using those herbs that are, sold for foods, then, it's a little bit easier to say, yeah, go ahead. You can, put some of that in your mouth. It's okay. Still, certain things I do believe that bay leaves, and I could be incorrect on this, but bay leaves you should not be eating, but you can cook with them, I think. Yes, all of that stuff. Just know your stuff before you end up putting anything in your body, or just don't ingest it. That's the easiest route. Moving on here. Most modern correspondences are derived from Hermetic, Kabbalistic, and Sanskrit texts, along with medieval herbology and alchemy, accounting for many conflicts between associations. Some correspondences are drawn from the mythology of the goddesses and gods that are associated with a particular planet and may at first seem to be random, but upon further inspection, there is often great wisdom in the old myths. So this is one thing, like I was saying before, different systems have different correspondencies, and depending on the system that you work with, may sway your correspondencies one way or another. Another thing to keep in mind is that your correspondencies are not always going to be the same as the correspondencies given by, let's say, A.E. Waite, whenever we look through the pictorial key of the tarot, or whenever you are going through Scott Cunningham's Book of Herbs. I can't remember, was it Potions, Brews, and something, I think. I don't know. He also has one out, he doesn't, but his estate does. What's the other one? Is it Herb, Stone, and Metal Magic? I think. I can't remember. My memory is failing. But look at the correspondencies, see what works for you, and if it doesn't work for you, change it. There's nothing saying that you can't make your own correspondencies and have your own list of things and how they work specifically for you. Especially if you are into herbology. Let's take that one because that's an easy one to go with. If you burn a little bit of sage and you're meditating with sage and it does not signify clearing to you at all, even though the rest of the witchy community generally will see sage as a clearing type of herb, you might find it as a useful thing in baneful magic. That might be the vibes that you're getting. And I don't know if it's something with the frequency or the vibrations of the herb and the frequency of the human, the witch, that is, and how they jive together. I don't know if it's something with that or if it's something completely different. But I think that would be an interesting thing to look through, is the vibrational aspect of the human being and how they interact with the vibrations of a plant or a stone or whatever. If that's the effect. I don't know. Just a theory there. But he does give in here some planetary correspondences with the herbs, the colors, the zodiac, the day of the week, different stones and whatnot. And if you are one into astrology type magic, absolutely beg, borrow, and steal from this book on that, because Christopher Penczak, I dare say, as my pages go flapping around, I dare say he might know his shit. So I would definitely beg, borrow, and steal from this section if I were to do astrological type of spellcrafting. I want to turn to page 320 here. At towards the very bottom. If you don't find correspondences by planet useful, you can look at the zodiac sign correspondences. Many correspondences will overlap with the planetary ruler, but some do not. In theory, you can use any plants or stones from the sign's ruling planet to invoke that sign's energy. And this doesn't only go for the zodiac and astrology and whatnot. This can go for if you are one to work with elementals and whatnot. And we're going to get to that here in a minute. But, you can, let's say, what's a good example? Let's go with the clearing stuff again. Okay, for clearing and protection. You can use sage, absolutely. No doubt about it. If you want to clear out a space, absolutely. And it will work quite well. But if you don't have sage, you can always use salt. Salt has a good protection and good clearing aspects to it. You can definitely use that. And even though they may not have the same planetary aspects and whatnot, they have the same functions, or they have similar functions that can be used for protection or for clearing. and you can definitely use one and substitute it for the other. And there's no hard and fast rules, this is what you must do type thing in our practices. So unless you put those hard and fast rules there are none that are being imposed upon you. Unless you are part of a tradition that says you must do it this way, rules are meant to be broken in witchcraft. So I would venture to say you can substitute just about anything with, again, just about anything, as long as if they have the same general correspondences or the same general correspondences to you. Let's go ahead and move on to the page, let's see, 324, Materia Magica. And this I found as a fascinating type of thing to do. Medicinal herbalists often create a Materia Magica, an easy information-filled system on various herbs, actions, and illnesses. I learned to create my Materia Medica. Did I just pronounce that incorrectly? Materia Medica? Okay. That's what it was supposed to be earlier, not Magica. Anyway, let's move on. From my herbal studies using 8x5 index cards, creating a recipe box-like file with all the needed information at my fingertips. I think it was Crazy Boy TX from way back in the day, early YouTube days. I think it was Crazy Boy TX that did he called it his box of shadows, I do believe, and it was just a regular recipe box. And inside he would have, instead of a book of shadows, he would have all of his spells, all of his correspondences, all of that stuff on little, note cards, and put them in that box. I think it is a wonderful thing to do. I myself would like to have the fantastically looking grimoire with the pretty pictures and all that stuff, but if I needed to go the more practical route, and let's face it, many of us need to, especially downscaling and whatnot, if space is an issue, little note cards in a box, there's your book of shadows, just fine. And I think that is a totally valid thing to have. I think it works fantastic for you. You can take it with you. Say you're going on a trip, another travel witch thing. Instead of, hauling around a book of shadows like that, or for the more grand types, the book of shadows that are like as big as my torso, instead of lugging around a book like that, you just have a little box. And I don't even have a box. You have a little box of cards. You can carry that around. You can put that in a, wow, that's loud. You can put that in a backpack, have it wrapped up or something like that. You can put it in your backpack and you can go. Again, you can do that in like a little, you can put it in a little shoebox, put it in your carry-on luggage, if that's something that you would like to do. Maybe you're one to do some spellcrafting on a plane. Something I never thought of, doing spellcrafting while on a plane. I wonder if that, little sidebar here. I wonder if that affects your ability to ground by a little bit. I mean, you can ground anywhere you are, because energetically we are still connected in some way. I wonder if that would affect like your ability to really focus on grounding and whatnot. I don't know. Maybe you just want to work more with the air element at that point in time. I'm not sure. Just a thought. If you've done spell work while flying, how did that go? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on here, I suggest making your own Materia Magica file system based on the medical model but using information that is most pertinent to your craft. And, oh, this is the one, let's see, where did it go? Oh, Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Crystal, Gem, and Metal Magic. That's the one I was thinking. It was not the herb one. It was Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Herbal Magic. I have both of them. I enjoy both of them, so I do suggest them. I basically, if you were looking for anything witchy 101, you cannot go wrong with Scott Cunningham. He's just a gentle person in the writings to get you into the craft, or explain things to you in the craft. I think Scott Cunningham is just amazing, or was just amazing. The writings will live on, and his legacy is quite strong, I should say. Anyway, he does give right here a little outline of how to do, or how to lay out for the plants. And you can also do the same thing for stones. Now, if you are a stone person, which I love stones, I love rocks. I actually have, let's see, that I believe that's is that the blue no, this is the blue onyx. Look at that. I got these last time I was down in Dover. Blue onyx, love it. This is, I think, is that angelite? Is that the angelite? Yes. Yeah, that's angelite. Yeah, you can actually see the little sparkles in there. Yeah. And oh, what's this one? Oh geez, wasn't labradorite, was it? Hold on. This one here is iolite. That's the one. That one right there, right? I got that right. Yeah, that's the iolite that I got. So, pretty stones. But if you are into working with stones, I would suggest getting Melody's book, Love is in the Earth. And, oh, it's actually right up there. Hold on, I'm going to go get it. Okay, this is the one that I have, Love is in the Earth, a kaleidoscope of crystals. This is the updated version. This was put out, I want to say back in 2012 was this edition. No, this was the 2008 edition. Yeah, and it is literally chock full of crystals. So what I would like to do is one day, not right now, not anytime soon. This is 709 pages of information, and it goes alphabetically, and it has it by, let's see, astrological signs. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's all alphabetical, but it also has astrological signs. So if you are into the astrology part, let me just find one. Here's, you know what? Let me find iolite. Oh geez, that is a long entry. Okay, iolite crystallizes in the form of masses, grains, and short prismatic crystals. The color range includes blue, brown, yellow, dark violet, gray, and green. This mineral also exhibits the plechochroic qualities, i.e. x-axis showing clear yellow, y-axis showing dark violet, blue, or brown, and the z-axis showing clear blue. Wow, I can't talk. In some cases, the metamorphic change has occurred in the iolite, and the colors which are seen are shades of gray, green, gray, or green gray, and brown gray. Wow, I cannot talk, period. Iolite is called the violet stone. It is a major It is one of the major stones for use on third eye crown area during healing, during guided meditations, and during astral travel and adventures. Um, its positioning in this area can determine the nature and extent of the success of the activity. One must use the intuitive capabilities to determine the correct location for each specific situation. This mineral helps one to change painlessly, the change being toward spiritual growth and enhanced illusion. And it has like paragraphs more. And it vibrates to the number 7, apparently. So, yeah, it gives astrological signs of Libra, Sagittarius, and Taurus, also, and it's also known as quarterite. So, yeah, I mean, tons of information. This book is not cheap, I will say that. It is definitely a book to save up for, though, if you are one that is dealing in stones. But I would definitely go through and I would use this as a way to catalog the stones that I do have, and the properties and my meditative correspondences with them and whatnot. I wouldn't really associate much with the astrological signs or the planets, but I would still put those in there because if that is a way that my practice goes in the future, then it's going to be helpful and I don't have to go back and redo those things. But putting all this on a little note card would be very valuable for you. Moving on to page 327. Astrological spellcrafting is just one way to make your own magic. If you don't like working with astrology, pick another model. You can base correspondence around the elements without getting into the signs and planets. The chakras make an excellent correspondence system. Absolutely, I completely agree with that. Just like the colors for your stones, those will knowing your chakra system will definitely help you with the stones and whatnot. So if that's an association that you can do, absolutely will help you. I will also say that if you are into numerology, that's going to help you with tarot. And, you know, since stones also vibrate to numbers, that I would also say that, you know, doing that with astrology and everything too, you could end up reading stones as or similar to tarot. Annie has fantastic videos on that. I think they are still posted and whatnot. And I do encourage people to go, you know, subscribe to Annie, Mirth and Reverence if you have not. Yeah, just go do it. Do yourself a favor. Anyway, moving on, he also says the chakras make an excellent correspondence system since they already correspond with elements, color, stones, and body parts. In a later course book in this series, we will explore the correspondence systems and focus on the tree of life, which I would find interesting. Every tradition and magic system has its own way of organizing and connecting information, or collecting information, sorry. Astrology, let me try this again. Astrology is just one way. Find a method of remembering and relating information that works for you. Absolutely, like I said, make it your own, find a system, and if no system out there is just right for you, make your own. There's nothing saying you can't. If you find things that Melody says in her book, and you find things that Christopher Penczak says in his books, and that Scott Cunningham said in his books, but not one of them seems just right for you, then, you know, do your own method. Make your own practice your own. It doesn't have to be a mirror image or a clone of somebody else's. Make it your own. Yeah. So let's move on. Further on down the page here, when you have created a spell, record it in your Book of Shadows. I am horrible about doing this. You can also add it to your Materia Magica, your little box of shadows instead, which I'm going to call it from now on, in a separate spell recipe section, particularly if you feel you will use it often and need to find it quickly for yourself or share with others. So, absolutely. That's another thing about the recipe card thing. If you have your Book of Shadows as a box of shadows, it is a lot easier to grab out one little card that has a love spell on it, let's just say. You can plop that sucker down on a Xerox. I'm saying Xerox. On a scanner. You can, send it to them. They can take a picture of it on their phone. However, you want to do it, and they can have just that one piece. That's it. And you don't have to end up showing them all of the personal things in your box of shadows. I know that whenever people do Book of Shadow tours on YouTube, which is a favorite pastime of mine, people will often take paper clips, and they will clip 2 pages together if they don't want to share something that's private on there. And I understand that, and I respect that and whatnot. I kind of just want to see all of the book, though, but, just my little thing. Doesn't matter. But if you do the little recipe card deal, then you don't have to show everything. You can just pull out that one card and say, here you go. You can have it. So, I will say that is one thing that is absolutely a pro whenever it comes to the recipe card situation there. Moving on to 328. Protection magic also bolsters your spiritual defenses, increasing your psychic resilience. You are protected from harmful energies. What? You seen this? What? Daddy reading? I know I love you too. You are protected from harmful energies from other people and entities. They cannot cross the boundary around you or the place where you have cast your protection spell. Why did I can't remember specifically what I had as a note on this, and I did not put notes in the margins on this one. But I do agree with that. Yeah. I have no comments on that, apparently. What I do is I underline or I bracket as you can see there, I bracket a paragraph saying, oh, okay, I want to talk on this. But I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And I have no comment. I don't know why I bracketed that. Cannot remember what I had as a point to that. So yeah, we're just gonna leave that there. And that's all that I have. I thought I had something else underlined, but I guess I don't. I am sincerely confused. Huh. Yeah. I am so perplexed right now because I thought I had more to share on this. I will say that some of the potions that he gives in here, the brews that he gives, he doesn't give a lot in this chapter, but he does give some. And I do always appreciate it whenever an author gives us a little something to make. Under the protection and binding area, he gives us a protection potion, protection charm, then gives one for a witch's bottle, which I really do appreciate. I've heard a lot of people be like, oh, well, witch's bottle this and that, and you have to do this. And no, you can make a witch's bottle very easily. And usually it's used for protection. You can do a bottle spell for anything, and it's okay. It's kind of like how your magic just sits there and stews and whatnot, and it just gets more and more potent. Whenever you're doing a bottle type of spell, you're actually having it stew there, but if you're using it for protection, then it's just absorbing more and more of that horribleness that's coming towards you, if there's horribleness coming towards you, and it will hold all that in there. Now, if you want some war water and you have a lot of negativity coming towards you, and you have that witch's bottle sitting there getting a whole bunch of that negativity in it, yeah, I would venture to say that that would make some kick-ass war water if you want to just stir up a little trouble. I would probably add a few things to it, but just to kick it up a notch. But yeah, I think that would make a good type of baneful type of magic, type of potion there. So just a little thought. Anyway, this has been a little shorter, especially once I edit this down, because I did make a lot of mistakes during this. For some reason, just doing these videos is kind of taking it out of me today. And this is the first one I'm doing today. But yeah, like the other day, it took it out of me to do a video, and that's not normal. I don't know. Maybe I should get more sleep. Sleep does sound good. Anyway, I do want to try to do the Christo-Pagan Sunday. We are doing, this is the last Sunday of the month, so we are continuing our tradition of doing a spell work from the biblical scriptures. So that is definitely something that we are going to be doing tomorrow. And I'm going to reveal to you all a book that I'm going to be using for specifically tomorrow, to find a topic to discuss tomorrow for spellcrafting and whatnot. So stay tuned for that one. And until then, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.